Hi, this is Randall here in Texas.
And I'm Matt here in Michigan. Today, Randall and I are ready for some music, specifically musicals. We're reviewing the new movie In the Heights. It stars Anthony Ramos, Melissa Barrera, Leslie Grace, Corey Hawkins, Olga Meredith, Jimmy Smits, Gregory Diaz IV, and Daphne Rubin Vega. It is directed by John M. Chu, who also directed Crazy Rich Asians, Now You See Me Too, and G.I. Joe Retaliation. It's based on the Tony Award-winning stage musical of the same name by Kiera Alegria Hudes and Lin-Manuel Miranda. Now, if you like this review, be sure to give us that thumbs up. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell and get notifications about our latest videos.
In the Heights follows the mostly immigrant residents of the Washington Heights neighborhood in New York City as they come to grips with their own futures and the ever-evolving streets of the Heights. Had a budget of about $55 million. It is currently streaming for a limited time on HBO Max, but you can always catch it in your local theater if your theater is open. It has opened to excellent critical response and excellent audience response. Matt, you got to see In the Heights in theaters. What did you think of it?
I liked it, and Randall, I've never seen the stage production, so this was my first time, experiencing In the Heights. I like the characters. I think the characters are nice and dynamic. The music is good, even though not so sure it's as memorable for me as like Hamilton is. But yes, I enjoyed it, and me, I like movies that give you feels and stuff, and this movie definitely gave me the feels. How about you, Randall?
Oh man, this movie definitely gave me the feels, and we'll talk about the feels a little bit more for sure because that's a very important part. I really loved it. I didn't know anything really about it going in. I hadn't even listened to the soundtrack. So really for me this was a whole brand new experience. And I knew that it was Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is super helpful. You do get echoes of Hamilton sounds, or I should say really Hamilton sounds a lot like this because it came out first. The music is beautiful, the production design and the dance scenes and all of the set pieces are equally beautiful. Like the film is very well put together as a film, and I enjoyed the cast a lot. Genuinely a really, really good film. The only negative, if I'm gonna say that I have a negative, it's just I am so sick of bad musical lip syncing. And I thought in a production like this that it wouldn't be as bad, but it's clear when you see characters lip syncing, it's so bad. Like, wow, that face does not match the music that's coming out of it at all. But that is such a small gripe, it gets lost in how much better everything else is.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how movies kind of, go different routes. Like some are like, hey, we're going to do the lip syncing route. And other movies are like, it's a musical. We're actually going to have our actors, sing the songs. And we're going to take that as the audio for it. And we have mixed results. But yes, I agree with you. I think that takes out a little bit. Some other things, I was a little surprised about. I didn't realize there'd be as many, like, CGI elements in this movie. Some of them, like, I think really add to it, like different graphics that we see, especially during a certain sequence when they're like drawing like in the air, and we actually see like images and stuff they're drawing to help convey the message that they're singing about too. But other times too, I could be wrong, but I believe in like the pool scene, some elements I think were actually like blue screened or something, where it's almost like some of our actors kind of popped out of the background a bit. I don't know, I could be wrong. I haven't really looked all into like the making of this movie, but some of those things I think were a little bit distracting.
I mean, for a little bit, some of it I thought was kind of like within the artistic purpose of the film, like how the filmmaker wanted it to be seen. So it didn't bother me that much. But yeah, I mean, if you're expecting like, oh my god, the most top-notch CGI, this is not the film for that, really. It's a musical and it's very character centric and it's very character driven, and that's what they want you to really be looking at. So that all of that peripheral like tiny CGI stuff that yes kind of looks off-putting, like near the end they're dancing on the side of a building and it's like, oh wow, that to me was one of the only things that was like, oh my god, that's bad CGI. But also, I looked at it and said, well, it could also be the way that the director intended it to look.
This movie, I think what makes it real good is like you were talking about, the story and our characters and stuff. Well, our characters have, very, I would say, complex, problems and stuff and emotions and stuff in this movie. And I think even if you're not like a big fan of musicals, I think you can at least enjoy and appreciate, the storytelling that we have in this movie and our actual, human characters that we have with the movie being almost 2.5 hours long. Though me personally, I didn't really feel the length. If you're someone who doesn't enjoy musicals, that might be a little bit of a minus two. I mean, I don't know why you're watching this film if you don't like musicals, but you might be like, oh my goodness, man, 2.5 hours for this thing and stuff. But I do think even if you don't enjoy musicals, you can find some parts of this movie to enjoy.
Well, yeah, and that's actually a really big thing that I experienced this, like I said, for the very first time, knowing nothing about it going in other than Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it's a musical. Okay, that's what I knew about it. I had a decent thought looking at the cast that it was going to be very much about like immigrants, and it is. It really is. But at the same time, my family, immigrated to the United States so long ago that I don't have the immigrant experience, and I never will have that immigrant experience. But it doesn't matter because there's so many other things going on in this film that even if you can't personally relate to the immigrant experience and what they're talking about, even though it's so well done, there are other things in this film going on, the complex characters, the complex storylines that you definitely will be able to resonate with. So even if you don't like musicals, there's probably something in here that really, really can touch you in a way that you weren't expecting. For me, that's a very particular scene uh, where, no lies, I was watching this and teared up. Like I had a moment basically, and that's something that not every movie can do, and I honestly did not expect it out of this movie.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a softie when it comes to movies. I mean, heck, I teared up during Wally and stuff too. Pixar normally gets me pretty good, but yeah, this movie got me in quite a few different spots too. I mean, I had tears and had to blow my nose a little bit at the end of this film too, because it definitely had the feelings in for this film. And yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, it has that human element into it, and that's part of what makes this a good film. I mean, I'm not surprised that it's getting, well liked by both audiences and critics. I don't think it's just because like, everyone's like, hey, we love Hamilton so much that we're basically gonna like everything, that we do with Lin-Manuel Miranda. I think this movie on its own is real good and stuff too. And kind of talking about when we were mentioning like the CGI elements, I think you get a little bit out of this movie. It's a different experience than probably the play. I can't say that by experience because I've never seen the play, but there's just some things that the movie creators did in this movie that I was thinking like watching it like, I don't think they could really do that with a stage production.
Probably not for sure. But diving deeper into like the character elements and the complex storylines, I love this idea that's portrayed in this film that you know our parents' dreams and our parents' ambitions for us. And this is something that connects with me, even not having the immigrant experience doesn't always work for us. What our parents' ambitions are and what they hope everyone, your kid will be better than you. There's not always that guarantee that that's going to happen or that you're going to have the opportunity to do that. There's definitely the character in here, Sonny, where he wants to be better. He wants to like go to college and everything, and then you find out, well, he's an undocumented immigrant and like that's not an option for him really until he gets everything settled. And that's kind of where we live off on a cliffhanger. And there's characters in here where I just sat there and thought, we're telling everyone, hey, you got to go to college to do this, and in reality, like, you and I, we went to college, we got our degrees, and then we do a whole bunch of stuff, not anything with our degrees, and have a bunch of debt. And you're like, okay, well, I can feel like the need to go to college that was pushed down on us from our parents, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I also could have just went to like, a trade school or something like that. It was definitely resonating with me, and that's just one tiny thing in this movie that you can pick up and run with, and the characters make it oh so much better. I I can't heap enough praise on it, really.
Yeah, I like that this movie definitely takes a look at possible differences between like individualism and like being part of your community. I think a lot of the pressures and different stuff that these characters feel or connection they feel is with their community. And then they also have like independent goals that they have, for themselves, like different things they want and stuff too. And I think a lot of this movie is them like looking into like, how can I achieve both? How can I have my independent goals kind of line up with ways to help my community. And I think that's a big strong part about this movie is the community element and stuff of it, especially with a lot of her characters like abuela. She's not really anyone's abuela, she's kind of everybody's abuela. She's the matriarch of this small knit community and stuff too, and it just really shows how everyone's kind of like interconnected into this.
I'm glad that you mentioned the character of Layla because I have to go there. If I step of the out of the movie review section and I just want to talk about Abuela for a second, her character and this scene with her is the scene that made me just have to step back and stop and have a little bit of a cry. The scene is so well done. This whole idea of how they portray what's happening to her is excellent. I mean, it almost can't be said that I've ever seen somebody handle this particular type of scene so well. But really, what does it for me is that character just reminds me so much of my grandma Finch, and I miss her a lot, you know? And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, but like she was such a beautiful woman. Sorry. Oh jeez. And I'm like, I have this. This is everything that's happening in this scene is so beautiful, and she's lived this beautiful life, and I'm gonna hold it together, but then I can't. I couldn't hold it together, and I can't hold it together now thinking about it. So if I step out of my shell, like that just really hit home really, really hard. And I think that lots of other people can have someone in their life like that they can really, really tie it to. And it's beautiful that she was this central point for all of these characters, and even after she's gone, she's kind of what still brings the neighborhood together.
Yes, she is. I love that this movie has many of those different elements in that can touch different people in different ways too. You're talking about how much Abuela meant to you in this film and stuff. Some moments that also meant something to me is especially like Mr. Rosario and his daughter Nina, and some of like the burdens that they put on themselves on how they want to kind of support each other, what they want. And that's what I was talking about a little bit more about that, individual, goals and stuff that they have and how it's a little bit different. Like I said, Rand, there's a lot of parts in this movie where, for some reason I didn't think this movie would have the impact on me that it did while watching this film. And I think, for me, that's one of the things I always look for in different films. Like, hey, does this movie make you feel something? Like, do you feel scared during a scary movie? Does this comedy make you laugh? I mean, do you actually get different feels? And I think that's what my big thing or big takeaway from this movie is. This movie has a lot of good moments, laughs, cries, excitements. You feel a lot of different emotions in this film that you necessarily might not have thought you would have felt before watching it.
I don't know how you can go into this film and not come out saying that you felt something. It's just a beautiful love letter basically to everybody. Movies just don't do that very often anymore. They're like, no, we got to find our niche and we got to hit this thing and we got to get, the check boxes for a drama or the check boxes for a science fiction film. This movie doesn't do that. This is just like, we're welcoming of everyone and we have something for everyone. We want everyone to have these emotions and have these experiences, and it's so much better for it. I wholeheartedly recommend that you watch this on HBO Max, go to the theaters, watch it. It doesn't, just go see it. Honestly, it's It's a lot to take in, and more than we can really get into unless we want to discuss just every single spoiler in the film.
Yeah, I agree with Randall. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this movie a lot. I mean, not every movie is for everybody kind of thing, and there's going to be some people that's like, nah, I don't like this movie. But, that's true about anything. So, but no, I think the majority of people are definitely going to find something about this movie that they really enjoy. So with Randall, I agree. Go check it out. If you guys have already seen either the musical or the movie or both, Randall and I want to know what you guys think about In the Heights. Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube page and check out some of our other movie reviews. We have new movie reviews, flashback movie reviews. We also take a look at some TV shows, and we have deeper dive discussions.
Make sure to also check us out over on Facebook if you haven't. We always post the day before what we're going to be putting on YouTube the next day. We post new videos every Monday and Thursday. For now, I'm Randall here in Texas. I'll see everyone next time.
And I'm Matt here in Michigan. Have a good day, everyone. Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.